Kimberly. Jessica, welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So,
Good to be here.
Kimberly, we're old school, so we're like the OGs. So we're going to start with you. Because we've known each other for the longest.
Yes.
But why don't we briefly tell the audience like a little bit of your story? How did you become to be in an ostomy?
Well, I am a stage 2 colorectal cancer survivor, and I was diagnosed at 47 in 2015. I was slated to have a temporary 6-week ostomy, and so I knew about it, and I ended up having a bowel perforation obstruction, which created an emergent surgery. And when I woke up, I was already in my ostomy, and they asked me to keep it instead of 6 weeks, 2 years. And so as the 2 years went by, I got used to life as an ostomate, and I decided to keep Toodles, which is her name. I decided to keep Toodles forever, so Toodles is my forever side buddy. And that's how I became an ostomate.
Yeah, and Toodles is cool. She saved your life.
She sure did. I'm so grateful for Toodles.
So am I.
I have no idea.
So am I. So am I. And we're going to talk about that too. And Jessica, how did you become into your ostomy?
So my story's a little bit different. I was diagnosed in 2016 with a genetic collagen disorder. And so I was suffering from multiple bowel obstructions. My colon had stopped functioning, and I had multiple bowel resections, and nothing was working. And then one day I was at home. I was getting ready to work. I was a registered nurse, and my colon prolapsed. So then I ended up having a colostomy. I have an ascending end colostomy. So most of my colon's gone, just the top portions there.
I was diagnosed with a very rare sarcoma tumor that grew out of my pelvis floor. And that was they found it in 2015. Took them a couple of surgeries to get to it. So it was January of 2016, where they had to remove the rectal muscles, which then I would never have control. So the ostomy was that part. And I'm only missing like the bottom maybe foot of my colon. So I have pretty much all my stuff except for that bottom part. And it's permanent.
I chose Hollister because I loved that they had the mini bag. It was the closed. I went right into a closed mini bag. I knew I wanted the 2-piece pouch system. And right away I went into the Convexity, which I know we're going to get into.
Yeah.
And I also love the product. It was the best for my skin. I use the Cera+, which is infused with the ceramide, and so it really decreases irritation and skin breakdown for me. When I'm in the shower, I can easily also peel it off, so it's not so sticky for my skin. Everyone's skin is different, so we're all going to experience different, the tact is going to be different for everybody and the stickiness. But I can just get in the shower and it will... I know you keep telling me.
I'm like, adhesive remover spray.
But honestly,
you need it.
I actually have super sensitive skin.
Right.
I had a port for 4 years too, and even my port dressing would tear my skin. The Cera+ Convex barrier does not. The reason I switched to Convexity, and I knew this from my own experience as a nurse and my own research, is I have a pretty flush stoma. I do have a connective tissue disorder, so my stoma will retract, go to flush, sometimes stick out. So I knew right away my biggest fear with coming home with an ostomy was skin breakdown and leaks. So I knew right away I wanted to go into a Convex when... pretty much right away, and I found.
And is that because you knew? Because I wouldn't have thought anything about it, but you knew.
I knew from my own knowledge and research. Honestly, I did find most of my education on my own, and that's something that we're all working towards is increasing awareness and education and resources and that kind of thing. For me, it's supportive around that peristomal skin, and it's kind of supportive and puts a little pressure. So it helps me get the output out into the bag better.
Having that staying power of that, the Cera+ Convexity, I had it for a week and I could probably still go a few more days. And I was shocked by that because I've never had that. What was your experience with trying it?
Yeah, it was very similar. The difference between the flat and the convex is like I felt like my stoma was just a little bit more cuddled and cradled, and that because I do have harder output, I was able to get it out easier. I just noticed with that soft convex and the Cera+, I usually wear mine for 4 to 5 days.
Right. Okay.
This one I had for 8 days.
See?
And normally I have the signal to change it because my skin itches
Yep.
and it gets a little irritated. But I was like, it's not even, and I almost didn't change it.
Right.
And then I was like, oh my gosh. And when I took it off, it was still intact. It was such an incredible product. I
Talk about the
my
skin.
skin. Oh,
Like
I gotta
the
tell
skin.
you, my skin though, my skin. I have pretty good skin.
Yeah.
Skin irritation is not, so I didn't think about that, but I do think about skin in the aging perspective
Yeah.
because this is the youngest I'll ever be
Right.
with this ostomy.
Yeah.
And do you notice your skin is changing? It's less elasticity.
Right.
So when I take things off, I really do think about that.
Right,
And I
you're
think
more
about what am I
prone
going
to
to be like as
tearing.
an ostomate at 60, 70, 80,
Yeah.
and my skin is even thinner. And so I keep coming back to the skin because skin health is so important for ostomates.
Right.
And I got to tell you, because I didn't change it for so long, I did have a minor leak. And the difference was my skin, I couldn't even tell that I had a leak because I didn't have the itching. So when I took it off, I was kind of worried. That was like, oh, am I going to have the irritation? That ceramide actually helped to protect my skin.
Right. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but even using the Convexity, I work out a ton. I work out a ton. And I'm lifting weights, I'm running, I'm doing hits. Yes, I'm a little insane, but I do it because I love to do that. But what I was worrying about is the Convexity, and again, my stoma sticks out. So I thought that it was just going to protrude too much and get in my way of doing what I was doing.
Same.
But it didn't get in the way. And the crazy thing is, I felt even a little bit more secure
Yeah, I did too.
than
too.
not.
It's like a little cup because I'm active too. I roller skate and ice skate and I dance and swim and travel. And so when I tried it, I roller skated with it because I wanted to see, and I danced with it because when I first took it out, I was a little bit, I was shook.
Well, one, it was the size of it compared to the one that
Yeah,
rollers.
So
So
but
you have
but
the
they do
small
have.
one.
I have mine's the small.
Yeah.
And it felt hard, and I was also concerned about the profile right out of the bag.
Right.
Those were my concerns. However,
It
when I
pushes
when
that
I
in.
Yeah.
when I put it
So
on,
it is flat.
when I put it on, it was light, it was airy. Like I was like, oh, and I was
Like a move.
shocked. I really didn't expect that convex to be so flexible.
Yeah, same. And I mean, you're a photographer, and you've been using this forever. So I mean, photography, you're not just standing up taking pictures.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
getting
All
in
over
there.
the
You're
place.
moving
Right,
around.
and it is a little bit firmer because you obviously have that product, that convexity, but I really never had an issue of being uncomfortable feeling it. I forget it's there most of the time.
Okay, so with Hollister, I've aged in Hollister, right?
Yes.
And so when I tried different products, and I started out with the longer bags, and then I went to the shorter, and what I like about the Hollister products is I've grown into them over time, is that I've learned that different products serve different purposes.
At different times. too.
Yes, because if I have more output, I can put on that longer appliance, the longer bag, and if I'm active, I use my little mini. And so I like the soft convex because I can now attach those things to that.
Right. And that's why I like the
Right?
two-piece. That's why I like the
love
two-piece,
two-piece.
because then you can make those changes as you're
Yeah,
going
I
and not
love
worry
two-piece.
about having to take the barrier
Yeah.
off.
And because it
the plate
stays
off.
on so long,
Yeah.
that's another reason I like the two-piece.
Yeah.
Because I can just take off the
bag.
bag
Yeah,
and just
that's what I
replace
love.
that, and my flange
And it's less,
held up. My
you're
barrier
not
held up
tearing
so
it
well.
off every time.
Right,
Yeah.
and changing your skin. Some things come with a lot of trial and error, and we have to be able to say we have this flexibility. And Hollister's a great company. They have secure start services. You can kind of call
was gonna
them,
say that.
and you can call them, and they'll work with you. Of like, listen, I might have a leak, or I'm a little curious, or how would this fit with me? Should I make changes? We have to be more advocates, and I think the more we've
Right,
talked
and
about
proactive.
it, and we have to be
really,
proactive.
I mean, it's really important. If you want the best quality care for yourself and the
Yes.
best products, it's important to reach out to other people with ostomies.
Go to your WOCN. Even if they say you've been here enough, go again. If they're not servicing you, I also say go to Secure Start because they can walk you through it. Like I was talking with someone and they said, because I hadn't thought about losing weight, gaining weight, that your appliances could change.
Right.
And they can talk you through that.
Right.
They will address that. And
And-
I thought that was nice.
And I love them too because, I mean, they're not, it doesn't matter what company you're with.
Yeah.
They're there to service you and help you.
Yeah, as
period.
an ostomy.
As an ostomate, period. I think I might be sold on doing
I was gonna
surplus convex.
I'm a convert.
Seriously, I think that's where I'm going with this.
I'm a
is that-
convert.
Yeah, done.
It's done.